All right, once again, good morning, boys and girls, and we are working on our very first lesson here today in sixth grade mariachi. Our first lesson is talking about musical terminology or musical symbols, okay? So we're going to practice drawing and we're going to practice naming a few symbols that we are going to talk about now. All right? Some of you guys named some great words that we associated with music, but now we will begin to use some of the words that we will use more often in our mariachi class. All right? So I'm going to share my screen with you because you're going to see a couple of things that I'll be drawing on here. Okay, normally when we have our class, I'll be able to draw these things on the board. Okay, but for now, I'm going to have to draw them here on Zoom. Okay, so our very first thing that we're going to draw and label, and this is actually a little bit out the box because uh, on the level one page, this symbol is not part of the level one, but it's always the first thing that I love to show my students because it's very simple to draw. Okay, so we're going to draw this first, and I'm going to label this. I like to write in capital, but you can write however you'd like. It is called a staff. Okay, musical staff. All right, so I will draw a staff for you with my finger on the screen. It's simple to draw. 5 lines and 4 spaces in between. So go ahead and draw that for me onto your notes. That's the very first thing we will draw on our notes. A staff, it has 5 lines and 4 spaces in between, okay? Now my lines are not perfectly straight, but they're okay for drawing with my finger so far. Okay, and that is the correct spelling for staff, S-T-A-F-F. All right. Once everybody has that in their notes, let's go ahead and give me a thumbs up. That way we can move on to the next symbol. Everybody got that so far? So good. All right. You learned your first musical symbol so far, and that's a staff. Okay. All right. Now in music, we're going to have different symbols that do different things. But for now, we're going to take you from the very, very beginning, some of the easier things that are to draw and easier things to recognize and label. Okay. So I'm really surprised earlier when I asked you guys, what do you know about music, that nobody said the word notes. Okay. Because notes is a very important part of our vocabulary. Okay. So I'm going to be drawing a few different notes for you guys to label and to draw yourself. So the next note or first note we would draw looks like this. Very simple. Go ahead and draw that for me. And the name of that one is called a whole note. Kind of looks like a hole, like in the ground. You dig a hole, right? So it's very important to know that this note is an open note head, okay? That means it's not colored in right here. It's just open. You just draw it like that, no color in the inside, okay? Whole note. Give me a thumbs up when you got that one in your notes. Right, very good. I'm going to keep drawing over here to the side in case we get a couple of people that are a little bit slower to draw these. Then I won't erase them just yet. Okay, I'll just move them over to the side for now. And then I'll keep adding to this, okay? Now, the next type of note I want you to draw is called a half note. Okay, so we're going to draw almost like the whole note. We're going to draw an open note head. So draw that first, and then you're gonna add a stem. It's gotta be here on this right side, okay? It's gotta be here on the right side, just like that. It's the best I can kind of get mine attached. And the name of that one is half note. Okay. All right, very good. So now we have a half note, we have a whole note, and we have a staff. Okay. Now we're going to move on to one more type of note for right now. And this note looks kind of like the whole note. It looks kind of like the half note, but it's going to be colored in. So now we draw a note head that's going to be colored in black. Okay. And we're going to attach the same stem to the right hand side like this. Okay, as straight as we can. I'll get it. There we go, like that. And the name of this note is called the quarter note. All right. So go ahead and give me a thumbs up if you have 1, 2, 3 notes on your page, and you also have a staff. Okay, label them nice and neat. What we want to do is eventually we will take this assignment and we will either scan it or take a picture on our Chromebook or laptop and then submit it to us through Canvas eventually. Not today, but maybe later on, so I can make sure that you did this correctly, okay? And we can check them for you. So the neater the better. All right, so far we have 3 kinds of notes and we have a staff, okay? So because we know 3 kinds of notes, we're going to also draw 3 kinds of rests, okay? So we have a whole note. We're also gonna have a whole rest. I think I can use this symbol to draw a whole rest. Yeah, this will look good. Okay, like this. And we have to draw a line going across like that. That looks pretty good. Okay, that's a whole rest. So go ahead and label that one. Here's my text. Whole, oops, rest. Okay. Now, if I draw the next type of rest, it's going to look very similar to this, but if I flip it upside down, that will be our half rest. Okay. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to draw the square part first. And then I'm going to take a line and do a line on the bottom like this. There you go. And this is called a half rest. All right, very good. So far we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus the staff that I drew earlier. So that is a total of 6 symbols. We're going to do one more rest. And can anybody guess what this rest would be called? Since we already have a whole rest, a half rest. Kayleen, what do you think we're going to call this one?
Quarter rest.
Very good. Quarter rest. Okay. And to draw this one, this is going to be a little bit tricky. So let me move this quarter note up here. Okay, and I'm going to draw it right here in the space. I'm going to have to draw that one with my finger because it's going to be hard to draw with lines. So the quarter rest, to me, looks kind of like a lightning bolt. Okay, so I'm going to do something like this. Did you get that? Let me draw another one, see if it's as good. Kind of like that. Yeah, that was not as good. Like this. Okay. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it kind of looks like a, you know, a lightning bolt or a fancy 3. All right, we got those so far. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start erasing some of these top ones so I can start drawing the other ones that we're going to be learning. So I'll go back to this one and let's erase this one for now. This one for now. This one for now. Okay, let's go to our next symbol. This one's got a tricky name and it's got even trickier drawing. This is called a treble clef. All right. Treble clef. It's one of my favorite symbols just because it's called also called the G clef. And we'll talk about what they do later, but I use it to sign my name with the G of my name. Okay, so this one is drawn like this. Get ready, because it's going to be hard to draw. Goes like this, like this, like this, like this, like this, like this, like this. Okay, see if you can copy that. Now this one, it's going to be tricky, right? You're going to have to practice drawing this one maybe a few times. But I can show you a different way to draw it that's going to be an easier way, okay? So let's try the easier way, and then you can try the fancy way, and you can show me if you got it the fancy way, okay? All right, here's the easy way. Let's start with one step at a time. You draw a straight line going down, okay? Follow me here. Draw these steps, and then we'll actually draw the fancy one, okay? Once you have a line, you go to the top of the line, and you draw a little, looks like the letter P, okay? So far, so good. You got that? Now you go to right here where the line connects and you connect that line this way and go like that. Okay, this is a step-by-step treble clef. And then once you have that connected, you start from where you attach to the line there or intersected the line, and then you go around from there and swirl it around. Whoop. All right. Everybody have a treble clef so far? I see some faces like, oh my God, my treble clef looks so horrible. It's okay. Mine was too at first when you first draw it, okay? Now, this other one that I showed you first, that's the cool one. And I challenge you to draw it without picking up your pencil, all in one motion. So you have to start from right here. Let me show you. Let me put a little arrow where to start so that way you know. You're gonna start from right here on that part, okay? If you start your pencil there and you go around and around and around and around and around and you end there, watch me on my screen. I'm gonna try it. Watch here, go around this way. Whoops, I drew another arrow. That was not good. Okay, here. So you start here and you go around this way and then you go around that way and then around this way and then around and then you go back down and it looks good. I like the first one that I drew better than that one, but you can see that it's going to take some practice, okay? but that's where you start from on the blue arrow so that you can draw it without picking up your pencil. Okay? All right. Everybody got at least one treble clef that looks kind of good. If you don't have one that looks good, it's okay. You can take time to practice it and you'll be seeing that clef a lot. Okay? Now, just to give you some insight, some extra information on the treble clef is used for instruments that play typically higher pitched notes, okay? Higher notes. So can somebody think of an instrument? That's another word that we're going to talk about. Can somebody think of an instrument that you think plays high notes, real high up there? Miss Victoria.
A flute.
Flute, very good. That's one instrument. We don't use flute in mariachi, but that is an instrument that we do play with very high notes, high pitched notes. Can anybody think of another instrument? Say again.
Or a trumpet.
Trumpet, very good. Kimberly, can you think of another instrument?
A violin.
A violin, very good. That's a mariachi instrument. So see how now we're getting the flow of what instruments are and what music is. And so now you guys know this stuff. And this is the first time we're meeting, you know, as a class to talk about this stuff. So I know that it's in you already, but we're just having to bring it out again. Josue, you have another instrument that's up there in range?
A harp.
The harp? Okay, good. So the harp is tricky because the harp plays high notes and low notes at the same time, okay? But just remember that this clef is going to be seen for the high notes, okay? And we'll get to more of that later on. All right, I'm going to leave that one there. I'm going to erase these two because I don't like these two. And I'm going to draw your other clef. There's one more clef, so this is your next symbol. Go ahead and label that for me. And this is called our... Somebody read that for me. What does that say?
Bass clef.
Yeah, it looks like the word like bass, right?
Clef.
But it's also called bass because you can pronounce that word two ways. So we will pronounce it bass, like the bass in your car. Boom, boom, boom. Okay? Bass clef. So bass clef is now dealing with instruments that typically play lower notes. Okay? So here's how we draw a bass clef. And you'll say, oh, it looks like this right when I draw it. Watch. We draw it like this. Whoops. Like this. And like this. And like this. And that wasn't a very good bass clef, but again, maybe I'll draw it like this. Yeah, that looks better. And then my circles are bad, but it's two circles, okay, like that. So what does it kind of look like to you?
A sad
face.
Sad face, right? Like a sad face looking like that. Okay, so that's a bass clef. All right, let me erase this one here because this one looks a little bit better. And we can we select like, yeah, we can do all that. And then move it all together. Found a new trick, okay? All right, so that's our bass clef, and I can probably draw some better circles than that. So let me cover these circles up with some actual circles. There you go. Okay, that's our bass clef. Bass clef deals with lower pitched notes. So if we think high pitched, like we talked a while ago, we talked about the violin and the trumpet and the flute. Perfect examples. Can anyone that hasn't answered yet maybe talk about an instrument that is lower pitched notes? Low notes. Anybody think of an instrument that can play low notes? Josue answered already, but let me give somebody else a chance. Anybody? Nayeli.
A harp.
Harp, because we said harp plays both the high and the low notes. Very good. Kirsten, can you think of a low-pitched instrument?
A guitar.
Guitar. Okay, guitars play both high and low notes. Very good. Okay. Josue, you have one more, Josue?
A guitarón.
Very good. That's the one that I was looking for. The guitarrón. That's the one that we use in mariachi. The real big one that we play the bass notes on. That goes boom, 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 boom. Okay. So guitarrón is a perfect example for a bass clef instrument because we use that one in mariachi. All right. Okay. So far, let's review all our notes so far because we're going to keep adding. But so far we have staff. Okay, that's 5 lines, 4 spaces. You have 3 different notes. You have a whole note, a half note, and a quarter note. You have 3 different rests, a whole rest, a half rest, and a quarter rest. And you should have 2 clefs, a treble clef and a bass clef. Okay, let me warn you right here on this one, on this spelling. Okay, we do not want to say, a lot of people think it's this. This is wrong. Trouble, like you're in trouble at school. No, it's not treble clef, okay? It's treble. So make sure you correctly spell that one. Okay? All right. Now I'm gonna show you. Let me see what else from this list. I'm looking at the level 1, Mr. Ferrer, and there's a couple of advanced things on there, but we can get to them maybe next class. But I'll just do the very basics that we usually do in the first day, and we can kind of adapt that worksheet. Okay, next one that I'm going to draw is going to be something that you think you see from social media or maybe from Facebook or from online, okay? But it has a different name for us, okay? So draw a sharp, okay? And the way we draw a sharp looks like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Kind of looks like something that you know as a hashtag, right? So that's a sharp. And they should be all even. Again, I'm drawing with my finger, so it's not going to come out as neat because I'm drawing on my screen. So just excuse my drawings, but they're okay. All right. We're going to learn our sharp symbol. Let me erase these rests out of the way. Oops. Erase the bass clef name. Okay, and let's go ahead and draw our next symbol. That is going to be called not a sharp, it's going to be called a flat. Okay. A flat will lower the pitch by a little small half a pitch, half a tone, which we'll learn later on. Okay, a flat looks like this and like this. It looks like a lowercase b from the alphabet, okay? Lowercase b, lowercase b. That's called a flat. So we have a sharp, a flat. We're going to do one more that's kind of in the same category. I like that category word. Same category as those, and this is called a natural. Okay. Here's how we draw a natural sign. Let me go ahead and see if I can move all these up a little bit. All right, our natural sign looks like this. We draw kind of like a square or rectangle with 2 lines, one going on the right side and one going on the left side. Now notice that on the left side, the line goes up, and then on the right side, the line goes down, okay? This is a natural sign. If you want to draw the square first, you can draw the square or the rectangle, and then you can draw the line on this side and then the line on that side. okay? But the lines have to be on those sides, okay?
That's pretty good right there. I know there's a couple more, but you can just.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, maybe that, and maybe talk about the music alphabet because that's very important. You know.
Sure.
Okay. Okay, guys and girls. So how many is that symbols wise that we have so far? We have our staff. Let me just take a tally here. We have our staff. We have 3 different notes. We have 3 different rests. We have 2 clefs, and we have a sharp, a flat, and a natural. That's 12, right? Okay, so those will be the 12 that we'll be looking at the most. And on the page that we have, it's already attached to your modules. It's got a few more that we'll look at and we'll explain more next time, but some of them are a little bit more advanced. So I'd rather give you this to kind of go over and be able to draw and practice first, and then we'll add more as we go, okay? There's more on the page. There's actually more in the musical world. There's hundreds of symbols, okay? So we'll learn these basics and add to them and add to them. We're building a foundation, okay? So foundation is a very important word because we have to put a good foundation to create more and more terms and more experiences with music so that we can get better and better, okay? All right, the last thing that I want to talk about and go ahead and write, let me go ahead and erase all these. And let's go ahead and write this term, musical alphabet. Okay. Now the musical alphabet is kind of like what you think it is. It's the notes and the letters that we associate with those notes in music. Okay. You know these 2 terms, but now you know them together. So when we think about alphabet, we think about our ABCs, right? We think A, B, C, D, okay? So you guys know your alphabet. Some of y'all know it in English and in Spanish, okay, which is good. Now there's a specific alphabet for English, for music, and it's actually just a piece of the English alphabet, okay? So here is your musical alphabet. Very simple to learn. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Now, what happens after G is we start to repeat our alphabet and we go back to A. So it's like a circle. We go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. We go backwards and we go G, F, E, D, C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C, B, A. Okay? We will learn these going forward and going backwards. So as long as you know that there are only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 letters, okay, in the musical alphabet, then we will add to that. Okay, we'll add some other symbols, like we'll add the sharps and flats and naturals, but these are the only letters that you'll use to read notes in music. Does that make sense? So you can't tell me, oh, that note right there, sir, that's a note S. That's my favorite note. There's no S notes in music. There's only A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. Okay? The musical alphabet. All right, let's recap because we only have about 3 minutes left. Time flies when you're having fun. Okay, so let's recap before we leave. Let me see. Michael, can you name me one thing that you learned today from the symbols? Don't forget to unmute yourself when you speak.
Okay, well, I learned how to, like, I guess, kind of do a treble clef.
Okay, good. I think we all kind of learn how to do a treble clef, right? That's the toughest one. But just the fact that you named the symbol treble clef is already a plus for us, okay? And more importantly, pretty soon we'll have to identify all these symbols on a quiz. If I give you a quiz and you see a treble clef, can you identify it now? If I put all the symbols together and said, pick out the treble clef, it should be pretty easy now that you drew it, right? Very good. Who can name me another symbol that they maybe that stuck out as one of their favorites, or maybe one of the ones that you had never heard before? Victoria.
A bass clef.
Okay, make sure that we pronounce it bass clef, even though it could be pronounced bass or bass clef. It's a bass clef, and we think of the word bass like the bass in our radio. Very good. Okay, that's very good that we can name the bass clef. And the easy way to remember how the bass clef looks is a sideways sad face. Okay, very good. Okay, so some of you guys have seen these symbols before, but you didn't never know what they were called. Maybe you saw them on pictures or on drawings, or and now you know what they're called, and you can actually draw them yourself. Okay, who can name me another symbol maybe that stuck out for you today? Josue. A quarter rest, okay? That's one of the cool ones to draw because the quarter rest kind of looks like a lightning bolt, okay? So to me, I like to draw that one. It's cool, okay? Elise, can you name me another symbol?
The quarter note.
Quarter note, okay. Now, let's pretend you're the teacher now, and you're gonna teach me how to draw a quarter note without showing me. Can you describe a quarter note, what it looks like, Kaylee, to me? Pretend I didn't have a chalkboard. Just have what you have to describe to me.
It's kind of like a lightning bolt.
Kind of like a lightning bolt. Okay, a quarter note. We're thinking about quarter note. I would describe it to you like this. I would say a quarter note is a closed circle that's filled in black, and it has a stem going up and down. That's it. Okay, quarter note. It should be a circle that's filled in with a stick going up. All right, simple. Name me one more before we go because we're down to 1 minute. Let me see. Jacqueline, can you name me one more?
A natural.
Natural. That's a cool one to draw. If you would describe that one to me, I would say, it looks like kind of like a square with one line going this way and one line going that way, right? One going down, one going up. Okay? All right. So what I need you to do is, this is your very first class. Congratulations, you made it through your first music symbols class. You guys did excellent. Now what I need you to do is go and practice these, okay? So you can do that a lot of ways. You can go and draw them over and over and label them. You can go make flashcards for yourself and just test yourself to make sure that you remember them, because pretty soon you will see a quiz on Canvas and you will have to go into the quiz and answer them with just the picture, okay? We might give you different options, multiple choice, but you will have to at least name the symbol. Can you do that for me by next class, you think? I think you guys are smart enough to do that, all right? So great job, and we're gonna add a lot more. That's where it gets harder, because next time we're adding more symbols, and next time we're adding more of the things that we can do with all these symbols together. And once we put them together, we start making music, okay? And then we can get instruments in our hand pretty soon, okay? Any questions before we leave? Okay, guys, thank you for being excellent again, and we will see you soon. Have a good day.
Good job, guys.
Bye, guys. There should be a button there where you can leave the meeting.